My name is Bobby Hobert. I am a content creator based here in Los Angeles, California. Yeah, I think my story is pretty unique, and I hope that it honestly gives people the confidence or maybe the permission to do the things they really want to do, because 5 years ago when I entered the podcast space, I had just graduated college. I was 6 figures in debt. I went to a top business school in Boston. Graduating and now wanted to become a podcaster, content creator. I had no experience. I had no idea, I think, even what the word content really meant. And so now where I'm at today, I think it's just a great example, really truthfully, of like, if you want to do something, you can do it. I started driving Uber full time to literally fund my entire creative ideas. And it's kind of crazy because so many people were questioning me, like, what do you mean you're not getting a job? You're gonna start driving Uber full time? And to me, that's pretty much what I saw happening. Was I'm going to start a podcast. I'm gonna use Uber to fund it full time, and I'm gonna see where things take me. So spent a year doing that in Boston, and then I finally made the leap to LA, which was a city I'd always wanted to live in. I always wanted to be. So came out to LA. I was a year in podcasting, year in and driving Uber full time, and I just kept hitting the pavement. And one thing that I recognized really early on was, like, I might not have the best equipment to start off. I might not have the highest quality lens, but it was all about just getting started and figuring it out as I went. As time went on, I continued to drive Uber full time. That led me to meet tons of incredible guests in LA, opened more doors than I could have ever imagined. One of my roommates that I live with here in LA now is somebody I met through podcasting. But it definitely took a shift about 3 years in, which is crazy because when I say 3 years, it feels like it went by with like a blink of an eye, but when I was in it, it felt like time was moving slowly. But I just stayed consistent. I kept putting out weekly podcast content. I didn't care if nobody was really listening. The analytics weren't really there, but I saw on a weekly basis the amount of doors that were opening and the people I was able to meet because of the podcast. Things definitely took a turn for the better. One of the podcast guests I had interviewed, his name is Brandon Cohen. He's the founder of a company called Liquid IV. Offered me a full-time position working for the company, so I was able to leave driving Uber, close that chapter. And as we film this, it's kind of surreal timing because next week will mark two years since I stopped driving Uber full-time. I drove Uber for 19,002 total rides over the course of that period. And it seems like a lot, and it was a lot. And I tatted it on the back of my arm so I never forget that chapter in my life. But there's a lot that I learned along that journey of just the importance of staying consistent and just doing the work and not caring about what people think and just really believing myself. Once I was able to jump in on that career opportunity, a lot of things changed for the better, I'd say. I definitely took a pause in the podcast space and as a creator for like 9 months-ish, kind of like reevaluating what did I want to do with my life? Was podcasting the thing I wanted to do? I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. Top business school, you think you're just gonna graduate and you're gonna have a job and the rest is history, but I knew I didn't want to just get a job. I didn't know what my passion was. I was 22, and the podcast actually showed me what my passion was, what my purpose was, which was to be who I am at a very high level, sharing it through podcasting and creating, but also at the same time, meeting incredible people through interviews, sharing out their insights and knowledge with the world and hoping that it would inspire other people. And things are still just getting started, but forever grateful for a lot of things, but more importantly, taking that first step to just start and trust that wherever this thing was gonna take me, it would take me somewhere really great. And I couldn't imagine myself being anywhere else in the world right now. The interesting thing about consistency is that when you're consistent with something for a long enough time, you start to gain confidence within whatever that thing is, and momentum starts to pick up. When you're just getting started, there is no momentum, right? And starting literally is, in and of itself, how you build momentum, just getting the ball rolling. When I was starting off, I don't know what it was about this idea, this concept of starting a podcast and also driving Uber to fund it, but like, I just felt like there was no other option. I also recognized that My student loans were gonna kick in within 6 months. When I got started August 31st of 2016, when I launched the first episode of my then podcast, Purpose in the Youth, I lit a fire under my ass. And I got really specific on what matters most to me at this moment in my life. I almost tricked myself into believing like there is no other option. Like I knew I wanted to do the podcast. I was driving Uber to fund it, and I didn't allow myself to overthink and question my own, like, is this the right path? Is this podcast thing gonna work out? I literally like mentally wrote like a contract to myself, like, you have an idea, this is what you wanna do, you're gonna go all in. And I gotta give credit where credit's due. Gary Vee was such a far away mentor for me in the sense of like, he didn't know me, but everything that I was consuming of his just gave me the permission to like keep going, stay consistent, enjoy the highs and lows of it all. And it's so interesting time that we're like recording this right now, because before we started filming this 2 hours ago, I posted something on my Instagram, and it's like, feel like the seeds that I've been planting over the last couple of years are really starting to come to life. Beautiful moment in my life right now where I really am grateful for so much that's happening in almost every, in every aspect of my life. If it wasn't for that willingness to just stay consistent and just trust and believe that wherever this thing's gonna take me, it would work itself out. I don't know what would have happened, but the ability, I will say that no matter what your goals, your ideas, or whatever that thing is you wanna do, if you can almost think about where you wanna be, who you wanna become, like actually think, like visualize this life that you wanna live. When you open your eyes up, that's when you start to make the daily decisions that are gonna help you get there. And that's what's gonna help you stay consistent. And with time, once that momentum starts rolling, you're gonna be off to the races, and it is gonna just pick up speed, and you are gonna be ready for it. The craziest thing about how I got the job with Liquid IV, it was this time 2 years ago. I'd gotten back from driving Uber. I posted an Instagram story literally saying, hold me to it, by the top of the new year, I'm done driving Uber. I've done my time. I've put in my reps. I've literally gotten everything I could have gotten out of driving Uber. I need a new chapter. I need a next thing. And that was something that wasn't just me randomly just posting on my Instagram story. I had been documenting my journey of my life behind the scenes, showing people in the Uber ride, showing people me literally eating lunch on the side of the road in the middle of LA. Like I really took people along for the ride of like podcaster by day, Uber driver by night, like showing them the ins and outs. And that was, once again, something I learned from Gary Vee is like, don't try to be somebody you're not, just tell your story and you're gonna connect with people. But I posted this story. Brandon Cohen, the founder of Liquid IV, sees it, DMs me immediately. He says, can you hop on a call tomorrow? I need to talk to you about something. So we have a conversation the next day, and he's like, I have this role that I think you would crush at Liquid IV. And I just remember being on the phone with him, and I was just like, yes. Honestly, bro, like I don't even know what the salary is, and like, but yes, I'm in. Like, just tell me what I need to do. I need this. I'm like burnt out with everything I'm doing. And I think it speaks so much to him as a founder, because even if he was selling rocks on the side of the road, I still would have took the job because I just believed in him so much, on top of the brand, on top of the mission and what they were trying to do. But once the job offer officially came in, this is it. I wouldn't say I felt like this is the end all be all, but I knew this was going to close one chapter of my life, and then it was gonna open something so beautiful. And it was gonna give me so much mental freedom to stop chasing money in Uber. Like it gave me the space and time to work when I wanted, as much as I wanted. But when that offer came in to work for them full time, it just changed my life. It was also a really interesting time because I was taking a step back from podcasting at the same time. So it was like I was also taking a break from creating, but also this was about to give me so much space, and it was gonna actually allow balance back into my life, which was something that I had neglected for 3 years straight, where it's like drive Uber, podcast, do business things, that's it. No dating, no like, let's go to the basketball game, let's go to the beach. It was just work, grind, hustle, repeat. The career at Liquid IV, 2 years in right now, couldn't be more thankful and grateful for the opportunity. And at the time of getting the offer, it changed my life like that. I'm happy that I didn't allow myself to get put in the box of like the entrepreneur interviewer, the creative or the music video director interviewer. Like I knew from the beginning I never wanted to be put in that box. Also because I was really curious and I just wanted to talk to anybody that I was like interested in meeting. And so I will say what really surprised me about successful people, they don't all do it the same way. Every human is a little bit different, but what they are really good at is they are self-aware to recognize what works for them and doubling down on that. I will say if there's like a theme that is so very true about these successful people is they are relentless. They see what they want and they continue to do it day after day after day. You need to be self-aware enough to recognize what works for you. Because what works for you might not work for me, and what works for me might not work for you, and that's fine. You have to tinker and test and try different things to understand how are certain things benefiting you, and is it something you want to put time, effort, and energy into? And when you find those things and you're self-aware enough to recognize this works, this makes me feel good, eating healthy, I feel different throughout the day, working out in the morning, I feel more energized, meditating allows you to have some stillness and calm down. When you start finding those things that work best for you, it then allows you to show up as a better person to the world. And the moment you stop comparing yourself to other people is the moment you are gonna begin to actually live your life like unapologetically, and authentically you. Like you're not gonna be worried about what other people are doing. You are solely just gonna get focused on what you can do. What are 1 to 3 things I can do today that's gonna make me 1% better for tomorrow? And just 1% every single day. It's a beautiful thing when you can surround yourself with people that think like you, that are open-minded, that are genuine, that are loving, caring, kind. It just ripples onto everything else that you want to do, that you do with your life, because they'll be there to support you, and they'll be there to check in with you, and they'll be there for when you need advice and when things aren't going good mentally. Yeah, that's why I'm a fan of what the Dreamr app is all about. If I'm somebody that lives in a town and I don't have those people I'm around, if I can click into this app and it allows me to connect to these like-minded people, that's what the world needs, is a place for people to tap into, to have a like-mindedness, to have encouragement, to believe in themselves, to cheer each other on. I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for all the social media content that I consumed online. Stop overthinking it. Overthinking, and we love to create these narratives in our mind of like, well, if it doesn't work out, if I fall on my face, if I fail, if I spend this money, blah, blah, blah. We create these stories in our mind about why we can't do it. How about instead we create this narrative in my mind about all the amazing things that could potentially happen and come into our life because we decided to do the thing. Whether you're anybody with a freaking dream and idea, think about the person you are most inspired by. The only reason they got to where they are today is they gave themselves the permission to get started. And when they started, they had to find a way to stop overthinking and creating these narratives of why they can't, why they shouldn't, blah, 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 blah. Take that imaginary whiteboard with all of your excuses of why you can't, why you shouldn't, what people think about it. Clear the damn board, don't overthink it, and just start. You will be surprised with how many amazing things are gonna happen if you just listen to internally, what do you really want to do? Hey, my name is Bobby Hobert, and you just watched mine Behind the Dream.